Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. In today's video, we return to the US-98 series with a new filming day on Friday, November 28, 2025. We leave our motel and head east on US-98, concurrent with Florida State Road 30, beginning at mile 175.8 in Apalachicola. Here in town, US-98 follows Avenue E through one of the most distinctive small cities on the Florida Gulf Coast. Apalachicola had an estimated population of 2,461 as of 2024, and despite its small size, has an outsized reputation for seafood, maritime heritage, and preserved architecture. The city sits where the Apalachicola River meets Apalachicola Bay, so water is part of nearly every view and every story here. It began as Cottonton, was incorporated as Westpoint in 1828, and took the name Apalachicola in 1831. By the late 1830s, it had grown into one of the Gulf of Mexico's leading cotton ports. Today, visitors are drawn by its walkable historic district, old brick storefronts, museums, charter fishing, oyster culture, and events like the Florida Seafood Festival. Apalachicola also feels pleasantly remote. The nearest connection to Interstate 10 is roughly 76 miles away by road toward Tallahassee, and with no direct north-south highway into town, US-98 is the main way most travelers reach this corner of the forgotten coast. As we roll into Apalachicola's historic downtown, US-98 turns right onto Market Street. This is the heart of the old port city, with many of the best-known shops, galleries, and restaurants gathered close together. Market Street is lined with historic commercial buildings that reflect the years when Apalachicola thrived on shipping and trade. One local favorite here is the Old Time Soda Fountain, a nostalgic shop on Market Street known for its vintage 1950s interior, ice cream sodas, and simple breakfast fare. Nearby, downtown Apalachicola also puts you close to places like the Dixie Theater, the John Gorrie Museum State Park, and the Old Rainey and Ormond houses, all reminders that this small city carries a lot of history in a compact footprint. As we leave Apalachicola, we cross the Apalachicola River near its broad, marshy mouth, where one of Florida's great river systems spreads out toward Apalachicola Bay. The name Apalachicola is generally traced to an indigenous word often interpreted as meaning people on the other side or people across the river, which feels especially fitting here at the edge of the water. After the river crossing, US-98 settles briefly onto a narrow strip of low marshland and fill between the river and the bay, almost like a man-made stepping stone before the longer crossing ahead. Once we reach that little stretch of land, US-319 begins and joins US-98, posted north even though it starts out running with this eastbound roadway. From there, US-98 and US-319 head onto the John Gorrie Memorial Bridge and its long causeway across Apalachicola Bay, with open water, marsh, and oyster country stretching out on both sides before Eastpoint comes into view. The concurrency here is a fun little oddity for highway fans because US-319 starts in the middle of nowhere in concurrency with another US highway, instead of beginning at the split farther east. We enter Eastpoint, an unincorporated community and census-designated place in Franklin County with 2,614 residents at the 2020 census. Eastpoint serves as the mainland gateway to St. George Island, so even though it's smaller and less polished than Apalachicola, it's an important stopping point for travelers, anglers, and beachgoers. The community grew as a working waterfront area tied to fishing, seafood, and bay life, and that practical character still shows along the roadside. You'll see marinas, bait shops, seafood businesses, and other services that support both locals and visitors heading out onto the water or across to the barrier islands. A little farther ahead, Florida State Road 300 begins on the right. That route heads south and then southeast towards St. George Island, crossing the Bryant-Patton Bridge onto one of the best-known beach destinations on Florida's Forgotten Coast. St. George Island is prized for its wide beaches, relaxed pace, lighthouse, vacation homes, and access to St. George Island State Park at the far eastern end. So even though US-98 continues straight through Eastpoint, this turnoff is the main gateway for beach traffic bound for the island. We conclude today's video at mile 186.7 as we leave Eastpoint at the junction with State Road 65. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, post a comment below, subscribe, share and follow us on social media, and join us for our next 504 road trip.